news, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you how you play. The content it never stays. More positive and uplifting. Once a week the scope gifted. This here is fake hydration like Boucher.
What is up, everyone? Wow, it's been about 3 weeks since I've been back, but I am super happy to be back. I'm not sure that our friends over on Instagram are seeing this. Yeah, here we go. All right, they're all ready. So Instagram, you should see this in just a moment. Welcome to MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. If you have never seen me in life before, ask yourself why, first of all. And it looks like we're having trouble going live to Facebook. I will fix that later. Bookface, I'm going to be nice, but I will fix that later. So for right now, we don't have Facebook. It looks like they are having some sort of issue. So we'll fix you in a little bit. So in case you haven't seen me again, ask yourself why, why you haven't seen me. But this is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We are here usually Fridays at 8, but we're doing a pop-up today. So I'll be back on Friday as well. But guess what? You get a Monday pop-up. So we're here Fridays at 8. And if you happen to be watching us on the YouTube side, why wouldn't you like and subscribe? Does that make any sense that you don't like and subscribe? I don't think so. So make sure that you are liking and you are subscribing because we would be super happy. Now, lots of things have been happening, and I didn't want to wait until Friday before we talked about some things. And I have did I tell you who I am? No, I didn't. My name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist. Welcome to the fold. We have our first, hey, look who's joining us over on Twitch. We've got a Twitcher with us today, our good friend, actor, musician, DJ, Derek Tuggle. I call him D-Tug. Lots of us call him D-Tug. What's up, D-Tug? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So as people start to file in, it'll be all good. Let's see if we have folks over here on the We Do. DM. Donna Marie, all the way in LA, is here. It says, let's go. How are you? Okay. DM, let me know what's going on. I know that stuff is happening in LA. I don't know if it's affecting you, if you are seeing it. Let us know what's happening. Same thing with you, Derek, because you guys are boots on the ground. Who would have thought in 2025, in the year of our Lord, this would have been happening? But both you and Derek are in LA, so please let us know what's happening. I am very interested to know. I'm interested to know that you're safe. That's a big thing. I want to make sure you're safe. Lux Life News has also joined us. Miss Divinely Blessed, what's up? Welcome to the 4:30 pop-up show. Also, Jesus Blackman, hey, how are you? It's good to see you. Now, let me know, those of you over here on Instagram, if I'm frozen, because it froze for me. So am I frozen for you? Let me know. So DM says it's wild out there and she's safe, but many are not. I want you all to be safe. Keep yourselves safe. That is my main concern. Lux Life News says, happy to be here. I'm happy to have you here. Not frozen. Good. All right. It's just on my side. You know, one day people are going to get it right. They're going to get it right. And look who we have here. Also, we have Kim. Kimmy says, loving the hair. Thank you. This was the wrong day to have my hair down and out. Because as you can see, there's some volume to it and it's hot. So I don't know what made me think, I'll just take it out. And already, I did the whole, let me blow dry it out. It has already shrunk into my head, but it's okay. I don't mind shrunken hair. It's all right. I hope everybody is doing well. And Food Plane is here and says, what a pleasant surprise. Yes, we're doing a pop-up because it's been about 2 weeks since I've been on. So I said, I don't want to wait till Friday. I'm going to come on Monday, but I will be on Friday as well. And look who is here. My good friend. So this means that, does this mean that they have corrected themselves? Nazim, you're seeing me on Facebook. I was getting a message that there was a problem with Facebook, but if you're seeing me, let me know. And he says, hello from Italy. Nazim, it is so good to see you. Welcome. And Kimmy says it looks nice. Thank you. Thank you for saying it looks nice. It's good to be here. But I'm already hot, so the hat is going back on. At some point, it will be in a ponytail after this. But thank you for all of the wonderful accolades. Thank you. News to share is here. Welcome. How are you? Thank you, DM. DM, I love your hair. Your hair is just um, absolutely gorgeous. And thank you, Jesus Black Man, for letting me know I am not frozen. My soror, Joni Red Butterfly, is here. And Paul G, 1/4 of the Gentleman's Corner, has joined us in the shot. Welcome, everybody. You know what I didn't do? I didn't give you a hug. How dare I? How very dare I? This hug is to let you know I appreciate you skipping work or whatever you're doing to be here at 4:30 in the afternoon in 2025 in the year of our Lord. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's do this. Yes, Nazim says that you see me on Facebook. Great. So I don't know what technology will technology, right? That's all we could do. And you felt that. Yes, I'm so glad you felt that. All right. Well, guess what? It's not just me. I am here with, you probably have seen her because she's been a staple as a special guest periodically on Be More. It seems like more often than not. She's supposed to be a monthly guest and she ends up being on almost every episode. But she's amazing. I'm happy to have her here. And guess what? We are going to see if we can bring her up right after this. Yeah, there we go. A jazzy introduction for a jazzy lady. This would be Shawana Kennedy. I call her Dr. Kennedy. Just accept it. How are you, Shawana?
I am amazing. How are you doing, Dr. Tachi? What's up, people? What's up, everybody?
I'm amazing. I'm doing really well. This is a treat for me. I usually don't come on this early ever, and so this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Now, don't look for me to be doing this every time at 4:30.
Well, you are a disruptor, though. You really are. So
I disrupt myself. I disrupt my damn self. That's what I do. Yeah. So I'm going on whenever. So typically the day is Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Today we're here. You never know. I might be back. So never mind me. We didn't come here to talk about me solely. We came to also talk about you. And you know what I would like you to do? Introduce yourself to the audience. So Shawana is my co-host today. And then I'll talk to you about how we got into wanting to do this in just a moment. But Shawana, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you, Dr. Tachi. Once again, I am Shawana Kennedy. I am the director for Kennedy Media. We are a firm that helps business owners and entrepreneurs just like you be seen, heard, and paid for their visibility. It's all things social media. So that's what I get to do. You know, also, hey, if you are actually following Dr. Tachi, I get to host not one, but 2 shows on IndieSoup Media Network. I am also the host of You First, which airs on Monday nights at 7 p.m. and C-Suite a CEO Chat, where I talk to CEOs from all over the globe about what it looks like to be the good, the bad, and sometimes ugly of being a CEO. And then, of course, because You First is all things about self-care, mental well-being, and personal empowerment. So having those conversations on Monday night. So I know you join her on Fridays, but look, schedule me in because I'm a part of IndieSoup Media Network family too. So yeah, here I am. I do a lot.
She really is. And if you're not watching IndieSoup, 1, why? That's the first question. 2, you definitely need to be watching because Shawana has some great things. She's got not 1, but 2 shows. And she talks, as she said, all about some things that are really important for you as an individual, but also for those of you that happen to be CEOs, business owners, etc. Whether you're C-suite level or hot dog cart level. That's, listen, hot dog cart is don't laugh now.
No, because there are some hot dog cart people that really do make some good money.
They do. Listen, you own your own cart in New York, and you can see it's hot here. All right. So you own your own cart in New York. You're good. You're good to go. All right. So we're going to get into this in just a little bit, but can you tell us some of the things that you have coming up? Because she said she does a lot, but I'm not going to let you get up. I do so much. What do you have coming up? Let us know.
Well, like I said, I love what we get to do. It's working with business owners to increase your video visibility. You already know, you see the things that Dr. Tachi get to do, but I do that too because I get up close and personal walking alongside you to even help you record some of those courses, those videos, those things to get you more visibility, because if they don't know you, they don't know you. And it's when we think about what we get to offer, our impact, when we think about scaling, when we think about expanding, I know all too often, because of you all are amazing, you're brilliant, and it's time for you to come, a lot of you to come from behind the scenes and bring that expertise to the forefront so that they not only can hear you, but they can see you. And so when you bring the two together, as you see here, what more could you ask for by seeing? It makes you want to know more, right? So that's what I get to help business owners and entrepreneurs do from all over the globe, doing all multiple industries. And so I get to have fun doing that. So also with the expansion of the shows that I get to do with Indie Soup, I get to have some amazing guests. They're sharing their lives, they're sharing their business, giving their expertise, their strategy that has even helped me in some of my business acumen. So I'm excited with what I get to do as the director for Kennedy Media and the creative side, because I love helping you be seen more of you. Yeah.
Come on, business acumen. I was like, yes, business acumen. Come on. All right. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to start with our first story. So guys, let me tell you how we came to this. So we're on the phone a lot. So we were talking, and Saturday, listen, I was intending to go on from the beach on Saturday. Well, it ended up that I had something to do and I couldn't get to the beach, because even though it's only a mile away, I have to take stuff together. And then here's the thing: if you leave too late, forget it, because you're going to have to park far away. And I was not going to schlep equipment to the beach and park far. I was like, yeah, no, not today. So I was just going to do it from home, and Shawana was going to come on with me. Well, those of you that live in the Southeast, you know, there were some storms and things on Saturday, and Shawana was a party to all of that. So she had no power, but I didn't want to leave her out of the fun. So I said, all right, we'll do it Monday. So here we are. That's how that happened. And you may see Shawana at other times as well. So yes, fantastic. You ready, miss?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into some, I think this is media first. Well, it's more of a tech story, but yeah, so it's a tech story. We'll play the tech intro. Here we go. All right, let's go with our first story. Now you've heard about this obviously because we talked about it. How many of you have you already know who this young lady on the left is? This is Pinky Cole, the founder and owner, visionary, mastermind behind Slutty Vegan. Now, if you don't know Slutty Vegan, it is a chain of vegan fast food restaurants that has really taken off. Of course, it started in the Atlanta area, but now it's spread to other places as well. They've got a branch in New York. Is there one in Ohio, Miss Ohio?
Oh, I don't know. Look, I've been here for so long. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check that out, but I don't recall hearing any of my.
Well, yeah, but you are in Atlanta. So have you had Slutty Vegan before?
Shame to say no.
Okay, no, don't be ashamed. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But I've heard it's really good for people that are vegan, that really want. Her thing behind this was because, sometimes she was like, vegans want like junk food too. And so she was trying to find burgers and things to do to make that would still give the feeling of meat, shall we say, to people that were vegan. And this is how this came about. But people who are not vegan seem to enjoy this as well. And it's more than just a restaurant. It's more than just food. There's like a culture to this, I would say. Put in the chat if you've had Slutty Vegan before, either because you live in Atlanta, you've visited Atlanta, or there's one where you live. Let me know. Let's see. Let's say some hello to some people first, though. Let's see. Okay, DM is jumping back and forth with work, but she's here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. I appreciate you. And let's see. Charlene, that's me, is here. Natural Girl is here. C Classic C Gems, what's up? Sawyer, how are you, my dear? Dilly with a dot is here. How are you? Let me know if you have had Slutty Vegan before. We've got some comments here. Mark Ward is here and says, I am inspired. We're gonna put this on the screen. Oh, Mark Ward, I can't with you. You win. You win. I'm waiting for your Netflix special, sir. You win. Wow. Okay. So this is what he's going to open, because you're going to have to make me edit this out for the gospel station. So I won't say it, but you all can read what this says. And
I believe he actually would have them lining up out of curiosity as well.
He would. He would.
I know. I believe he would.
Either that or he would get sued by Slutty Vegan. One or the other. One or the other. So let's see. So Nazim, I didn't know you'd been in Italy that long. He left the States in 92, and you get sloppy pizzas instead. Is it called sloppy? Oh, is it really called sloppy pizzas, or you're just making a thing? But I mean, Italian pizza, come on. That's the food there is amazing from what I've heard. So I haven't been there, but I want to. So Food Plane says, I'm amazed by the vegan desserts that are out there. I didn't think tofu cheesecake would be yummy. However, it was amazing. Let me tell you something. I'm not doing the tofu cheesecake. And let me tell you why. Because I am allergic to soy. And so one day I saw a recipe. I said, oh, this would be nice. My stupid allergic to soy, like tofu, I'm allergic. Tofu bothers me, and also like soy milk. So I said, oh, well, let me try it. Made it like a peanut butter pie type thing with silken tofu. If my heartburn didn't, it was the worst thing. If my throat was itching, I was like, this was a waste of resources. I knew this. So I won't be doing the tofu cheesecake thing. But for those of you who can do that, I'm sure it's fantastic. Food Plane is a food connoisseur, so I take his word for it. So, any case, let's talk a little bit about this. Why I wanted to bring this up is because not just, I'm looking to see if anything, I'm missing comments. Classic C Gem says, have not heard about it. And you live in New York, right? I think there is a store in New York, or Slutty Vegan in New York. Hey, Ifish, how are you? Welcome. It's Janet. Hey, Janet, how are you? Greg Morris, how are you? And Colleen Costello, it is wonderful to see you. Success 22, hello, Soror, how are you? All right, so if you haven't had it, it's vegan fast food. Now, this is the reason we're bringing it up, because there's tech involved here. The woman on the right, let's put that back up for those of you who did not see it before. Hold on, let's get there. All right, so the woman on the right, this is Lauren Milan. If you don't know, you should get to know who she is, especially those of you who have businesses, those of you that are in tech. You need to know the people that are in tech, the people that are venture capitalists. She is a venture capitalist. I had the good fortune to meet her years ago. She came to Fort Lauderdale to speak during Black Tech Week. They were doing something for Black Tech Week, and she came there. She is the nicest person ever. So nice, waving and hugging, just very nice. So she actually now is the new president of Slutty Vegan. Why does this matter? Because Pinky Cole lost her company for a little bit. So she lost it in February, bought it back in March. Okay. So now there's this reorganization that she's going through. And part of this reorganization is to bring on people. Now, first of all, the whole reason she lost her company is because, I mean, they ran out of money. They were very top heavy in terms of spending money on overhead. Too much money. So when we all heard, and I'm sure you heard, Shawana, that Slutty Vegan was valued at $100 million.
Yeah.
Right, that was their valuation. Okay, but that doesn't mean you have $100 million in the bank. That's a lot of different things together. So I'm not saying that she judge, but she may have miscalculated what could be done. And then, things come up. This is the nature, such is the nature of business. But how scary is it that you're making history in terms of this and you lose your company, even if though it's for a little while? So she's like, never again. So she's brought on Lauren Milan, who is a tech guru, venture capitalist, to head this. Now, the reason why I wanted, this is what she said. Let me tell you what she said. This is the first time that I have an all-woman staff in my corporate, which is super exciting, especially when I think about who I am to Black women entrepreneurs in America. I know it's going to be great. So Lauren Milan officially started her role at Slutty Vegan as the president on June 4th. So just last week, she started. So she had to rebuild. So that's what she's doing. So in addition to losing her company, she was also in a car accident. So there was a lot that was going on. So she was emotionally shaken. She was physically shaken. She lost her company, and now it's back. So I guess she took the time that she needed to reorganize and all right, well, what are we going to do? And this is what she came up with doing. So she lost the company, she said, February 13th, bought it back March 28th. So within just about a month, she was able to buy this back, which would not have been everybody's cases. So let's talk about this. We wanted to talk about it from the business aspect, from the business standpoint, what this means. And you have a lot of business insight. Tell us what this means in your opinion.
One, I love that it was a very short window. Two, it shows how we as human beings, things do happen, things do show up, but it also showed her vulnerability in her process and in her plan. But luckily for her, she did have a great person to really, because that happened very fast. And if you don't have relationship, because it speaks to relationship as well for me, because with her, within less than, all of this happened, felt like about 90 days from a car accident to losing it being reassigned. And then within going into right at that 90-day period, not even a month, she now has a new president, and they're already in alignment to rescale everything. That's why they're saying 2.0. It's beautiful though. And I believe sometimes there is designed detours. We may not like it. It may be on accident in her case. However, but it was due to that then I believe has now shifted her to make far beyond what she could have ever imagined for her company. So what looked like a loss to some people, it was the biggest gain. So that's where I go in. It wasn't a year. This was a matter of months. That's amazing. So it's like when we think about that, we have to look at what do we have? Who do we have in our arsenal? Who do we have if something happened, God forbid? Who is that person that you can call to potentially be a partner, or who could have that flexibility in their business that can help hold you up in your business to then say, hey, I just need you to watch this for me real quick, because I'm going to be right back. I'm going to be right back. Because life showed up, and it makes us all want to then take a look at our back end, because we already know she not only came with what refocus, restructure, she came with systems.
Yeah.
Right? She came with all of that.
Okay, this is exactly the thing, because she would not have been able to reorganize so quickly had she not had systems in place. So even though it's like an ominous, she lost her company, well, it seems like the fact that she was able to get it back so quickly was because she already had systems in place. So this is the thing. This is the lesson here. We're going to have a lot of lessons today, people. This is a very special MediaScope. I used to hate when they had a very special hoax. And then your mother would be there, why does it have to be a very special one? But this is a very special MediaScope. So you're going to learn a lot of lessons, get a lot of little gems. So it seems, again, that there was already a plan in place. There were systems in place. There was no way she would have been able to do that had she not had systems in place. And I want to hear from you all what you think. If this is your first time hearing about it, that's fine. But especially for those of you that have businesses, that are working on businesses, what do you have in place to ensure that calamity doesn't ensue, that you don't lose everything? What systems do you have in place? I'd love to know. Absolutely. So that was great. That was
I'm just thinking about not only on our front end, right? Because she's fast food. On that front end, And that's not even talking about the service piece. It was right. It was her back end, and knowing that now she's partnered with someone who has superseded, because of course to partner with someone who's done leaps and bounds and able to help you quickly shift, right? Refocus, scalability, all of the tech forward things, everything that she brought to the table. She didn't just bring to the table, she brought her own table, right? She brought her own table.
Cut down the tree in the forest.
Hello, timber.
The timber, exactly. They went to the metal works place and made her own nails and screws and bolts. She did it herself. She did it herself.
Lumberyard.
Exactly. Exactly. See, this is how we get when we're together. So, okay. So Classic Tea Gems on Instagram says she did share her story on EYL. So for those of you who don't know, that's Earn Your Leisure. Do you watch Earn Your Leisure, Shawana, at all? Or
I do on occasion, but I did not see her on that episode. I did not.
So if you want to learn a lot more about her story, that's a good episode to watch. For those of you who don't know who she is or don't know about her story, she was on Earn Your Leisure. You could go to their YouTube page and watch there because it's still up. And Earn Your Leisure goes live every Monday night. In fact, they're going to be live tonight, usually at 8 p.m. And they talk the market, the stock market, and all investing and all sorts of different things. And they have Invest Fest, and usually it happens in Atlanta. Now, I have not been to Invest Fest in person, but I did go last year virtually. So I wasn't able to attend sessions virtually. So very interesting indeed. Yes. So let's talk a little bit more about this, because I want to flush this out. Oh, first, let me see if anybody else has questions. Oh, Dilly with a dot says loves the look. Thank you, Dilly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Classic C Gem says yes. Design detours to a divine purpose. Designed detours to a divine purpose. Amen. Hey, Quafdu, how are you? Joni Red Butterfly said, yes, it's all about relationships. Absolutely. Bring them on. Lessons are blessings, says Classic C Gems. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see what we have over here. Vegan Food said, vegan food. Food Play says, I hear you. My point was that vegan food is delicious too. It is. Just not tofu. Nazim is off to bed. Thank you for hanging in with us. I always appreciate when our Asian family and our family from Europe joins in, because I know it's late for you. So thank you so much. D Carpio is here. It says hello to you. Dasava, how are you? Says, I remember when she was on EYL. And look who's here. Ron Foster, the photographer and host extraordinaire himself. How are you, my friend? Welcome. Bet you didn't know I was coming on today. Now you do. So let me just, before we go on, and he's saying hello, before we go on, let me just take a moment to say, hey to everyone, welcome to the fold. You are watching MediaScope. This is all things media, tech, and pop culture. Usually we're on at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Today we're doing a pop-up. We're just hanging out. So you guys are hanging out with us. And guess what? You guys can ask questions about the story, or anything that you want to know about business, media, technology, any of that. Ask any questions. We're happy to answer those as well. This is a hangout. You know, Brian Culbertson already has the hang. He's a musician I love to watch. So he already has the hang. But we have a hangout. Let me not get sued. Anyway. Let me shut up. Let me not get sued. So we're here every Friday usually. So, but today we have a pop-up. I will be back again on Friday. And if you're watching on YouTube, I don't understand why you're not subscribing and like. Definitely, it helps us out. The YouTube experience is definitely a vibe. So if anybody, especially those of you over on the Instagram side, if at any point you want to come join us over here on the on the YouTube side, it's a vibe. So definitely do that. You get a better viewing experience. And in case you don't know who I am, my name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist. Welcome to the meeting of the minds. And let's bring Shawana back. I said Shawana, like Chewbacca. No, Shawana. I'm sorry. And she's got the love t-shirt on. I'm loving the love. You're bringing all the love today. Bling. Good for you. All right. So let's get some more comments in. And D Carpio was happy to see us, and Decep is saying, hey to Ron. Oh, thank you. And we haven't even started. So we haven't even really started. So thank you for saying great show. We'll get to some more comments, etc. a little bit, just a little bit, but we want to delve a little bit deeper here. Let me ask you, Shawana, does seeing stories like this make you afraid of scaling? So let me say this to you all. Shawana and I, besides being friends, we also have the same business coach. We're in a business cohort. Every morning we watch Shay Cannon, who has been a guest on this show before, and she's amazing. So if you're not watching Shay and you're in business, you're wasting time, my friend, wasting time. Make sure you are watching Shay Cannon every morning, and join her free group on YouTube. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But she talks about scaling. She talked about systems, all of these business things. But sometimes, especially if you don't have a strong business background, all of this can be scary. And then you see somebody who is like on top of the world with millions and millions and millions in valuation, and then something like this happens. As a smaller business, because it won't be small for long, but as a smaller business, does that make you afraid to scale?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's like for me, and I believe for some other people, it's me understanding my purpose. It's me understanding the impact, me remembering my mission. And of course, a lot of people like to call that getting back to our why. Why do we do what we do? Right. Of course, yes, I'll say I call it a bonus. The things that I get to do, the people that I get to serve, I say the bonus is that they actually do pay me for my services. Because when you know that you have a mission and a calling on your life, I believe I was actually saying it earlier to one of my other girlfriends, and we were talking about where there is vision, God will allow provision. And so just like with Pinky, this whole thing, she reclaimed her power. This could even be a masterclass. So I wouldn't even be surprised if something like this, because it talks about ownership. It talks about her reinventing herself. It talks about her being unapologetic in her leadership. And so if this is something that you're doing or thinking about doing, you have to be okay. And to know that there will be the ebbs and flows. There will be the ups and downs. There will be many a year that you may not see any return for what it is that you're doing. That's why you have to remember, what is the reason? Why am I doing what I do, right? Now, of course, we could do stuff for free. And that's why I say, no, the bonus and the benefit for me is that I do get paid for my services. And hello, Bible readers, we are worthy of our hire. However, that's why having that back end, having those relationships, because sometimes the relationships can bring the partnerships, which brings the money, that's why before you just jump in it, you should have a plan, or making sure now we don't have any excuse. There's so many tools and resources and look, for free universities that you can get information from before you can actually pay and invest, because I do believe in paying for the level in which I want to go. So this actually is encouraging to me to show us vulnerability, that even though she was evaluated at that much, even though when we look at the stats and saying it was I believe over $10 million in her overhead, which some of that cost, and then life shows up, this lady has this car accident, right, which could have possibly shifted everything. But it also talks about having our business in order, even when you're starting small, because sometimes for some people, like with the pandemic, some people literally overnight became success. But do we still hear about those businesses? So it's like using this to say, as a guide, to say what's going on in the front, right? Because I do believe in taking the leap. I do believe even with certain things in my business, I jumped out the airplane and said, okay, God, I'm trusting you, because I'm going to move to action. I'm going to do my due diligence and not just hope that he give me wings along the way. So all of this for me, it made her stronger. She had strategy, right? It made her smarter. So that's encouraging to me to say, when I feel like I'm all alone, because everybody don't have business besties. So sometimes your best friend could be a 9-to-5 person. We love them. I've done it myself. I did it for decades until I said, it's time for me to do my own thing. So that's why now, would I want to go back? No. So for me, I don't have a choice. So I have to figure it out, get with the right people, continue right partnerships, and get with the right people that I know that even have funds to fund what it is that I'm doing, so that I can have a higher evaluation for my company. because anything could happen. So those are part of my thoughts.
Okay, I don't know how that ended up happening, but thank you for letting me know. Okay, so thank you. That was very poignant. That makes sense. So, and you have to say something because I'm looking up here. I can't see.
I know. That's why I was like, you don't see, that's what happens, guys. Also, not only gyms, but you get lessons when you go live. That's what happens when you have MediaScope. That you really do. If these are things that you're going to do, you have to know how to really just do stuff on the fly and still make it seamless. So these are educate. See, Dr. Tachi be giving us education on the slide. I hope y'all know that, right?
Listen, even if it was a mistake. But so, guys, just to let you know, I don't use the camera on my laptop. Don't ever. If you can avoid it, don't. It's terrible. So I use a camera, a real camera, a mirrorless camera. But that means my computer's down here, but I'm looking up here. So I can see a little bit. So I kind of saw her arms moving, which is why I looked down. But for the most part, I don't. So you just have to look back and forth.
Yeah, no, I felt like a choir director. For any choir directors out there, when you be like this mean like stop, this mean back to the top.
Yeah, I could barely see it. But then I said, okay, I see something moving, and then I out there. So food for thought. But definitely 100%. I was saying that at this point, I'm a terrible employee. So whatever I do needs to work because I am not going to work for anybody else. So I need to I'm not a good employee.
That part. I'm over it. I am over it. So this has to work.
This has to work. So
there is no B. There is no plan B.
There's no plan B. There is no plan B. No. So I mean there's no plan B, but it doesn't, it's okay if that's what you do, you work 9 to 5. Some people are content doing that. That's fine. That's for those people who are looking to branch out into business and want to do business full-time as their thing. Both feet in. Some people don't, but some people, sometimes you need that 9 to 5 as your, what Shay calls a dream funder, to continue to fund that dream. Let's not be stupid now, but you know, at some point you have to jump both feet in because otherwise it's still a side hustle. So I love what you said about faith basically carrying you through. So there is no fear about that. And I know some business owners, some people are afraid of that because of all the things that come with business.
You know what? When you said the word fear, because you said it, faith-based, what it is that instead of us just falling apart, we are face everything and rise. And it's with that hope that we do have to say, no, I don't have a choice. You heard me just say, I don't have a plan B. God continue to give me strength and wisdom. I don't ever want to punch anybody else's clock ever again in life. I don't want to do that, especially at this stage in my life.
Listen, no. If I punch a clock, I might end up punching somebody's lights out. So let's not, we're not doing that. That's done. That's done. Let's take a few comments. We have, my good friend Hannah Boyd Miller is here. Welcome. And DeSava says that the intro has her fired up already. We like fire here on MediaScope. So excellent. Look who's here. Serena Wills, the queen of food truckery and the minister of libation. She is part of the MediaScope family. Welcome. And she says, hey to everyone. And Mark Ward says I'm not doing any mine. See, Mark Ward, I'm waiting for your special. See, on a very special MediaScope, Shawana does mine. There we go. There we go. She said, let's not punch anyone, please. Listen, I can't make promises. If I have to go work for something, I can't make promises. I can't promise that, okay? So anyway, that's why it's best I stay as an independent entity, right? All right. And speaking of independent entities, have you watched Indie Soup Media? It's an awesome network. Make sure that you're watching. In fact, you know what? We're just going to play the intro right now. Since we're talking about independent, how about we do that? Let's go. Funky, here we go. Indie Media, it's indie content redefined. Make sure you are watching us. We are live Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to about 8, depending on the day. So you get some different kind of stuff, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to build. And Shawana is part of that. So thank you. All right, so let's take some more comments, and then we're going to move on to the next story, shall we? Let's see. So we've got all these folks over here on Instagram. Red Box is here. Hello. Sawyer is laughing. I don't know what we said, but she's laughing at something. 16 Passion Fruit, welcome. And yeah, Quaffdu joined again. Welcome in. All right. So if you have any questions for Shawana, any questions about this, let us know. We are very happy to answer. Tell us, first of all, before we go, since we're talking, or go to the next story, since we're talking about this, when did you decide that Kennedy Media was what you wanted to start, or this was the right time to start Kennedy Media? What made you come to that decision?
Well, actually, look, that goes back in history because Kennedy Media technically is over 2 decades. She's over 20 years old. What people didn't know is because of me having a musical background, being a gospel recording artist and all of the things, I understood the importance of ownership. And so way back then, I was smart enough to then say, I need to own some things. So that's what brought Kennedy Media to life, was my desire to not necessarily even be the next big artist, if you will, because I'm a little older than some people think I am. It was an effort for me to be able to shop my own music, but then be able to have control over what it is that I did with my music. Besides, I do some social media management things. And so that means creatively, graphically, things that I was doing online. People didn't know it was me. And they started to ask me, well, who's doing your social media? And I was like, oh, that's Kennedy Media. And so it was back then, over 20 years ago, that I kind of stepped in and peekabooed, and I did it part-time, right? Because I had a business funder as well, right? Because back then, my oldest will be 38. My youngest is just turned 16. So you guys do the math. So I had a business funder as well to help me kind of balance it out, but I never left her alone because of doing recordings as well as self-publishing some things. I wanted my own. And so that's where God had already gave me that yearning. And so I even went further and went back to school, went back to college to further my degree in recording engineering, because I did not want them to talk over my head when it came to studio work.
100%. I think that is key, to be educated in what it is that you intend to do. So perfect. All right. Well, since we're talking about music, this is a perfect segue to our next story. But first, let's get in some comments. Let's see. She said, your oldest is what now?
I know that gets everybody, right? It does. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It still gets me.
So she still hasn't accepted it. So, and proud of me. I was like, who's DT? Oh, me. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. And let's welcome to Almeida, who is joining us over here on the Instagram side. It is good to have you here. All right, let's do this. Let's go to our next stories are actually all media. So guess what? That just means we have to play the media intro. Here we go. All right, so it's time for some media stories, some media-ing. Media, and that's hard to say, but let's media. How about we do that? All right, so we have another story. Here we go. Oh, Taylor Swift. All right. So in case you all didn't know, the reason we have Taylor Swift on is because we haven't been on to talk about this, but you may have heard that she officially owns her entire music catalog now. She bought back the rights to her first 6 albums. She announced this last week, and this is actually years and years of struggle to make this happen. right? So this is, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is I wanted to talk about this with Shawana because she is a musician, she is a singer, and so this is right up your alley. So here's the thing: if you remember, she re-recorded 4 of her albums because what's that guy's name that that owned the rights to it? Let me look. If I can find it, it will be here somewhere. So in any case,
yeah, it's under, I believe, under Big Machine Label Group. It was
right.
That, yeah.
But there was the Scooter Braun. That's it.
Mm.
Because you kept hearing the name Scooter Braun, Scooter Braun. So she, there was a huge fight, you know, between she and Scooter Braun, and this really opened a debate in terms of ownership and artists and owning their work, right? And so she actually re-recorded 4 of her albums and called it like Taylor's Cuts or something to that, like her version of that. So that takes an awful lot of time and effort to re-record 4 albums, but she did it. So now finally she owns the rights to her entire music catalog. And that's money. I don't know if people understand what that means, but the fact that you own your masters, the fact that you own your catalog, that is money, that is valuable. And that's also a bargaining chip. You hear now about how some artists are selling their catalog, selling off their catalog, either because it doesn't really matter to them whether or not they own it, or they need the liquidity for some, financial trouble. But that is money. So this is a really important thing. Arguably, she's one of the largest pop artists in the world, and so owning your stuff definitely matters. I want to hear from you because this is you. I mean, you're not Taylor Swift. You're better, but but tell us a little bit about your now you've got a single out now, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey in music and what this means for you.
There again, with what I was mentioning before, having the ability and the gift to sing, right? And in my case, I'm a praise and worshiper, right? I'm all things #Go Team Jesus. But when I think about the music industry, I often say too, some of the greatest voices in the world we will never hear because of the music business, because of that business side. So when it comes to me, and it's not funny, however, it's similar. When I just re-released, because the song that was just released is an actual re-release of my original recording that I first recorded over 20 years ago. And it's some of the same thing that when you're dealing with different production and different people, and you're not knowing who's signing what or who's submitting things prior to you, and then you look things up, and then there's this whole battle of who owns what. I actually know what that feels like. Have someone else outside of just me being recognized as the artist and the writer, but then certain things as it relates to royalty. If certain music, like I don't play certain music today because that part of me says, I don't want them to get royalties on it. But if you heard it, I'm gonna tell y'all right now today, if you heard the song, it's cold. It's good. It's that good.
We believe you.
It's because of, like you saying, re-recording that music and what that looks like. Yes, now with us having more systems and being able to go in studios and do things faster with all of AI and all of those things, that's cool. But then that's still another set of money. That's still all of the things that people don't see. There's more than just you being the artist showing up in a room, in a booth with a microphone and some headphones. It's all of that financial side that people don't understand, that is a lot. And that is one of the reasons why I had to pay attention to what I was paying attention to. That happened to me. So that is a part of that backstory, why I am so passionate about people owning your stuff, right? You need to own your stuff, have ownership, because then that means you have control. Because so else own it, they have control.
Right. So you have music out there that you don't actually own. Is that correct?
I'm listed as the writer. I'm listed as the artist, but as it relates, because certain things, like I am a part of BMI, I'm up under BMI.
Okay.
And so when you look, if you were to look at one of the songs in particular that was like near and dear to me, because I called it my baby, especially back then, Yeah, they have their name is on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how would there are a lot of people that are interested in either furthering their career in music or getting into the industry? What would you tell them? How can they protect themselves?
Own your stuff. Make sure you have documents. Make sure you have agreements to where, for me, one of the things that I did, even as it related to musicians, like even the people that played, even the singers that sang background, all of those things, they knew that that was a work for hire. Therefore, beyond them going into the studio with me, them laying any type of tracks beyond the agreed upon dollar amount, that was it. That was all they would ever get out of that particular project. And unless you did what is called like a split, where you do a split sheet where you already know, hey, this does this, they already know based off the percentage that you say that you're okay with sharing part of that, the rights to that music with them. Even in this latest song that was re-released, because I chose to have my youngest, she's on part of the intro, I even listed her as one of the vocalists, because that's another way. Hello, when we think about legacy for our children, hello, Beyonce, hello, Blue Ivy, right?
Listen,
It's
and
like
Rumi. Yep.
how can we position our children, our loved ones, who we do want to then have an extended piece of ourselves, how
Yes.
we can use that so that their names is already written somewhere that they don't even realize. Because her being on there and just doing an intro, a speaking intro, she now is listed because I chose to put her name on there as one of the actual artists on the song.
See, absolutely. So that goes back to even the conversation about Pinky Cole, and there she's doing that. She and her husband, because her husband owns food businesses as well. They're building legacy for their children. So the fact that you're doing that, 100%, that makes so much sense. This is a good conversation. We don't always talk about business, but when we do, it's with Shawana Kennedy.
Because you don't want anybody else to control your licensing.
No, absolutely. And I think we also have to be careful. Okay, in this age of social media too, and we're going to talk about this because we have a story, but in this age of social media where people are publishing their lives on social media, whether it is video or you're publishing music, your songs, now it's nothing. You put something out at 2:00 by 2:05. It's already all over the place and people are using it. They've remixed it, remastered it, etc. So you have to be careful. And even on these platforms, read the terms of service, because you think, oh, I'm just putting it up there. You never know who will end up owning it because you chose to put it someplace and you did not read the terms of service. And that's on you. I don't care if it's the size of 5 fleas. Read it. Read it. We've got some comments. Hey, Mangelo, or Michelangelo is here. How are you? He says, good evening, ladies. Good to see you. Good evening to you, Michelangelo. And Lux Life says, good for her. For Taylor Swift, I'm guessing, but good for all of you. Good for everybody. She is a music biz enigma. Her team is strong and smart. About Taylor Swift. Scooter Braun, thank you. I'm like, I know it's a weird name. Yes, Scooter Braun. Ms. T has joined us. Welcome in. Soldier in the House is here too and says, hello to you. Mandelo says split sheets are important. So Michelangelo, are you also in the music industry? It occurred to me, I don't know exactly what the hell you do. So if you are, please put it in the chat because that's really interesting. So you probably have a lot of insight on this as well. Holler if you are a scholar, join. I like that. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Wonderful. All right, let's see if we've got some comments over here on the other side. DiCarpio says she's still young, talking about Taylor Swift. I'm guessing, absolutely. And yeah, nice. So good for her. Good for her. I think it is, whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's and written works, don't sign it all away because you get a few ducats up front. And I think that's the thing. Some people are so desperate and so excited that they're willing to sign everything away. And then it's like, oh, I don't own this for the 7 lifetimes now. Is that what it is? So even if it's not you, your descendants can't benefit from it. So.
Yeah, you know what, real quick before we shift, It just brings me to when we think about the young man who just recently won American Idol, and hearing and seeing on social media where Fantasia really was even talking to some of her audience, and in the interview and him speaking about how she encouraged him and just really said, one, in a nutshell, own your stuff, don't lose who you are. And that's why we have to remember, because it doesn't matter if somebody tried to imitate what it is that we do, they could never beat us being ourselves.
Yes.
And we have to show up as our authentic self always, no matter what the platform is. And that's what happens, because then when you feel that someone has taken a part of you, then you feel like you've lost a part of yourself. But I'm believing that he did it once again. He did it once before, he can do it again. And that's why we have to stand firm, 10 toes down, to say who we are and stand on that, and constantly work and hone our craft. Like, you can't stop. Like, we have to constantly keep learning, because things will change. It's like, when is the last time we even looked at some of the blueprint? Like, what does that look like? Right. Be updating some things.
Absolutely. And I would say be about the craft and hone your craft, but be about the business of the craft as well, because trying to be too much of a crafts person is what has done people in before.
Yes.
Make sure that you not just have people around you that understand, but that's no good if you are the dummy that doesn't. So make sure you understand as well. So we're going to move on to our next thing. We've got like 2 more stories. If we could get to it, we've got 4 minutes left so to make this an hour show. So let's see if we can get this in. We're going to go to our next story. This individual is not my favorite, but okay, we got to put them on. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So this is media a little bit. I don't do politics, but I only talk about it insofar as it relates to media. So this is Joe Rogan. If you don't know, Joe Rogan has one of the top podcasts in the country. Remember, I talked about him ad nauseum, especially back, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago now, when Spotify signed him and they paid him $200 million. That was something that was never done before. So that's why it was such a big story. And he is very influential. I'm not a fan. I know there are people that are, but I'm not a fan, because I don't particularly like what he talks about. But that's just me. But there are people that are fans, and fans to the point that whatever he says can sway and influence thought, as we saw in this past election in 2024. So what's happening now is there is a study. The Democrats are studying young men. This project is actually being widely mocked, but they're looking at this because, look, they were able to, the right was able to draw in young men because they could identify with podcast bros like Joe Rogan and such. So what they're doing is, there's a study that is happening. They're trying to understand young American men and what are, I guess, some of the things they value. So I guess people are mocking them because it's like, at this point, you weren't thinking about this before, but I think they misjudged. Let's take this down. I think they misjudged a certain segment of the population. So they're looking at doing this. So they have a project called Speaking with American Men Project, and they have a 2-year, $20 million budget to study young men and how Democrats can reach them. So this is from Politico. For those of you who are interested in reading the article, you can find this in Politico. They had 30 focus groups nationwide on national media consumption. Okay, this is where media comes in. This is what they found in this. Many young men believe that neither party has our back. Democrats are seen as weak, whereas Republicans are seen as strong. Young men also spoke of being invisible to the Democratic coalition. And so you've got this weak problem, and then you've got this, and this is what they're saying about this whole thing. So it's called the SAM Project. And yeah, so there are some people that are for this, and some people are like, okay, it's kind of too late. But the reason they're doing this is to try and understand. I don't know that a scientific study as a social scientist myself, is really going to do a whole lot to hit on the problem. Not when the Republicans were able to go, or I shouldn't say Republicans, but conservatives were able to garner so much interest through podcasts. Okay. So what is the answer? Do more podcasts? What say you? I'm interested to know what you think about this, Shawana.
It's bigger than even politics, though. It's about, when we think about personally, economically, if they're not speaking to the direct need, far as job security, mental health, then that's why they're tuning out. That's why we're having part of the issue. But here's the funny thing: we see what they want us to see. Ha ha. There go the algorithm, right? They're saying one thing, but it could be a whole other issue going on. But for as it relates to us, our men, the men, it's like, if you're not addressing our issue, they're exhausted, they're tired, they don't feel, a lot of men don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel understood. So they are tuning out, and that's why you're not getting what you're getting, and that's really what they need. Here it is, where are we at? June. This is Men's Mental Health Month, right?
Yes.
And it's like speaking to those things as it relates to men being better leaders, but being okay to know that they have to tap into their mental health. And if this is just, I don't know, this.
Absolutely. So, let me ask you all, if you in the comments, if you feel comfortable, if men, do you feel seen and do you feel heard? And I'm interested in what you all think about this, but particularly men, since this is aimed at you. So, Ask Mark Ward says, trying to gain white men incels is a strategy, and it's putting lipstick on a pig. The issue is deeper than podcast appeal. It's a bad investment. Yes, and this is why there is talk of people saying that, okay, you're out of touch. So if you think it's simply about, it's much more than podcast. Absolutely.
Because how many of them are really listening anyway? Let's just say that part.
Here's the thing. I think people listen to what they want to listen to. They listen to what aligns with what they already believe. So if they know this is not rocket science. So if people know that Joe Rogan says some inflammatory things, he has some people on that have some inflammatory views. If their views as individuals are already inflammatory and aligned with that, they're going to listen to Joe Rogan anyway. So it's not rocket science, right? So it's not like, here's the thing. I don't think it's as simple as, oh, they were saying this, I told my friend, and then it was like a widespread movement. Because the way we consume media, for the most part, because it causes cognitive dissonance otherwise, is we consume the media that usually already closely aligns with what we believe. Now, a good way to do and consume media is to look at all sides of things. But I, for one, don't want an ulcer. So I'm not going to go and watch a whole bunch of inflammatory stuff, because we're talking about mental health. You have to keep that in mind as well. So
protect that peace.
Protect the peace. Absolutely. Ray Renati, how are you? And DJ McFord, how are you? Welcome in. So DJ McFord is actually going to be doing, I think you're doing a set on Thursday. We'll let you know. If you haven't been coming on Thursdays to his account in partnership with Indie Soup Media, we've been doing Euro Soulful House music sets, and they are amazing. So if you are into Euro Soulful House music, come on by. You could do other things as you're listening, but it is a true party for the ages. You want to be there. So welcome in. And then author Natasha Smith, it is good to see you in here. Welcome in. And so let's see. Define men. Oh, gosh. So should I say males? Because there's a difference between being male and being a man, just like there was a difference between being female and being a woman. So that's a whole other kettle of fish. But so when I say men, I'm speaking specifically to males, or perhaps people that identify as male. You see how messy this gets?
So, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, so I'm speaking as male, or people that identify as male. Okay, so that's what I mean. We looked at that. And so Mark Ward also says it's not about messaging, it's about discord, disconnection, and powerlessness, and one side weaponizing it to make the other the cause and the enemy. Absolutely, absolutely. It's also that what you're talking about is also the mark of lack of critical thinking. That's the act of acting on emotion either, and that external locus of control. You guys know I love locus of control, pointing fingers outside because for some reason you seem to have no control inside. So it's somebody else's fault, something else's fault, 100%. Wow. So this is interesting. It will be, I want to know exactly everything. I probably will take a look to see what this is in its entirety. I haven't looked at the study yet, but I'm interested in they do give some stats. There's a gap between 18 and 29, those between 18 and 29-year-olds. 46% of young men voted for Harris in 2024. So that's less than half. So I guess they're trying to figure out why. Anyway, I think we know why.
You can't reach men with hashtags and headlines. We have to remember that it's about you being present. That's why I said this is definitely much bigger than when we think about politics, because if they don't feel heard, let alone seen, this is for naught. So yeah, I'll wait for your report back on that one.
Yeah, this is a bigger issue than just this. I was solely looking at the media aspect of it, that they're trying to get in by determining what is the answer and what is the catalyst, and it could perhaps be looking at media, right? Yeah.
That's why the thought led me to, when you think about algorithms and you think about headlines, subject lines, hashtags, it's all of the things that what's going to get them to click on it when you think about media and SEO, things like that. So yeah, that's where, part of my thought went.
There's so much else I could say, but this is not the right venue for it. So I'm just going to hold that because we want to keep it specifically to media. But we do have one more story before we go. And I think this is an important one, especially since you are, again, in media, in music as well. I wanted to really do this. Mark does say this: take that study money and instead provide a universal basic income and watch the change in viewpoint. Now, that is very interesting. That is very interesting. DeSava says, I agree, but race, socioeconomic, educational, demographics, etc., all come into play, age, etc. Yeah, it's not the same. So demographics do have something to do with the way people are perceived, candidates are perceived, etc. Definitely understood. And I think this is what this looks like to me. This study is too broad. I don't know what the hypotheses are. I don't know what the research questions are. That's why I need to look at this a little further to understand. But on the surface, from what this is saying, what this article is saying, it's too broad. So I'm going to look and I'll report back and let you all know what I found and whether or not they're going to start steering people towards podcasts. I don't get it. All right. So we have one more story. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Here we go. Timberland, the producer extraordinaire. So this is interesting because he is actually jumping into AI. He's introduced, this is tech. I didn't do the tech intro, but we did it before. Anyway, so he is jumping into AI. He has introduced his first AI-generated pop star called Tata, T-A-T-A. And that is his next act. So he's a Grammy Award-winning producer, as you know, and he launched a new entertainment company called Stage Zero. It is focused on AI-generated music. Their debut act is Tata. Let me see, is there video? You know what I should have done? I'm going to put this up. Let me see if I can find this image, or I'll share the screen. Let's do that. Let's take this down and let's show you Tata. That's a terrible name. That's a horrible name. Let's see if I can share the screen. We're gonna go to this share. All right, can you see this? Let me know because I'm not looking at it, Shawana.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you. All right. So this pink-haired person, this is Tata. She is it's a new genre that he's calling, as you can see, A-pop, like for AI, right? So I guess kind of like K-pop, A-pop. And she does look to be an Asian avatar, I guess. So as you can see, this is on his account, says thinking bigger but still inclusive. Interesting. So let me stop sharing that. I want to know your thoughts as I stop sharing this. Tell me what you think about this. AI in music. Are you, first of all, what you think about it on the whole, what you think about it, Timberland doing this? And number three, what this means for you as a musician.
I actually, I believe when we were having our discussion, I kind of see both sides.
Okay.
Because when I think back, hello, auto-tune.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, when we think about some of the greats 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when they introduced auto-tunes, that's what it was to me. That's what this kind of feel like is just now with all of the AI and all the other tools and resources. The same people were scared back then with all of the auto-tune, right? A person crack a note and they would then just smooth it over, coming in, with the auto-tune to put a little twist on it. This is the same thing. The only difference is, as I know you're going to get into it, where we talk about dollars and cents and owning rights, because basically you could have a whole artist, right? He's created a whole person, well, AI person.
Correct.
And now he's going to make money off a person that really never has to step foot on a stage. Everything is all about programming. So then that goes into, again, the split. What does this really look like? What does this really mean? How many jobs is this potentially taking away? It's already tough to be an indie artist. So now you're saying, okay, now we're going to be possibly taken over by AI artists. So yes. It's like you got the person that really needs to be out there. That's going to make it hard. So next, okay, I got, instead of American Idol, it's going to be American AI. Ooh, how about that thought?
That's definitely food for thought. And it looks like it's going this way. But okay, so here's the thing, and I see both sides of this as well. But let me read something that somebody wrote on, well, X. And one person said, Timberland has hundreds of real artists submitting music for a chance to be heard on TikTok, but he chooses to work with an AI artist that will most likely be platformed using resources real talented artists need. Okay. So there's that end of it as well, where you have actual human individuals who are looking to do this, and Timberland is choosing to quote unquote replace them with AI, right? I see the promise in this and I see what this could be. But if we look at it from the human aspect, and I'd love to know what you all in the audience think as well, can you go to a press junket with an AI avatar?
Ooh, I would love to know that. But then, of course, that's why the human being side of it is that there's the connection. It's like we lose the connection.
Right. Can you be connected to Tata? I cannot go to a listening party. Remember back in the day when I worked in radio, we used to love to have listening parties. So you can't go to a listening party.
Yes, you can.
No, you can go to a listening party, but you can't meet Tata.
Yes, you can. You can meet her virtually. Did they not do something similar with MJ? Did they not do that where
but he's real? See, what you have to understand, he was a real persona.
But so think about the music aspect though. So that's why I see both, right? Hey, I'm for the human being here. Let's just make sure that is cleared up.
Yeah, no, I think
I see both sides. However, remember, they don't have to deal with attitudes. They don't have to deal with the things that when you hear some of the horror stories of artists and production, think about the money that's saved, not to mention the money that they will gain dealing with the AI. They could create an AI person in 30 days and push something out, new music, and look how much money they make, and they don't have to pay it. They don't have to pay that artist.
It's true, but okay, but let's look at this. Fandom, and Timberland was also involved in the production for Empire, right? So this is where I'm making the parallel. So Timberland was involved in the music production for Empire. Empire, for all intents and purposes, these were fictional, these were not artists, but they had several bangers that dropped from the show Empire that were written specifically for the show Empire, but people knew those shows. And guess what? Even though this person is a character on the show Empire, you could still meet them in person. And in fact, I did. There was a whole session when I was at NAB when Empire was big with the one who played, was it Hakeem? I don't remember. The one who played the middle brother between Jussie Smollett and the other one. So I met him. I had an opportunity to meet. He did a session at NAB. People were like crawling to get, because he's a real person. You're not going to get that with AI.
It depends on this. It depends on what group of people. For us, no, right? But I already know, everybody that is listening, they know what music can do. Music invoke emotion. And when you set that up just so, it changes everything. The story can be told, so you will have people in there crying about Tata.
Wait, don't make me laugh. No, you are right. I'm not saying that there cannot be a connection to the music and the music cannot be good, but there's something about fandom, and fandom is really connecting to the human behind the songs. There's such a thing as parasocial relationships. The fact that you identify with a character, with an actor, with the friend in your head. Nobody's going to do that with Tata, because she is cold. She is cold. Tata.
No. I'm trying to tell you, all of the people, there is going to be what you're going to see coming up when all of this really pan out. It may not go as big as he wants, but I guarantee there is money to be made, because
I'm not saying there's not money to be made. I agree there's money to be made. I think that AI and music, all we have to do is look at will.i.am and what he has been able to do in the AI space. So this shows that there are lots of people in the music industry that are interested in getting their claws entrenched in AI. Definitely, because here's the thing, because here's another thing that's smart for Timberland, because he is involved in it, he can control the narrative. The people that are worried about it are the ones that, it's going to take because you're not involved in it. So I agree with being involved in it 100%. But what I'm saying is that the way fandom works, it works off of personalities that are real. I know that I can feel you and touch you and talk to you, and you are actually a real person. Now, I'm not saying you have a point. As time goes on, when you start to lose that human connection, these avatars could very well take the place of the music that we know now. But at the point we're at now, nobody is going to go to a listening party, book signing, whatever, for an avatar, because we know that person, that thing, that code is not real. Before you answer, let me say hey to Miss Mo, hey to Lisa Seeley. West African Queen is here. It says blessings. How are you? Welcome. Good to have you. Bestie is here in waves. What's up, Bestie? For Love of MEC is here as well. Welcome. And yes. Okay. So go ahead. What's your thought on this before we wrap it up?
Again, I want to make sure that it is perfectly clear that I'm all for the human being, right? Hey, I record music. So yes, I would want you to come and see me, because when you know who you are and what you represent, I already know that I'm an experience. So it's like when I think about the tools, though, and the resources to be able to bring some of that in for some of the folk who may not have all of that bigger backing.
Okay.
I just see the other side where they can possibly marry some of that or combine some of that to say, how can we marry the two to help other people scale, right? Other folks where it could work. It could work for both sides if it's done right. But I'm telling you, I still believe that there's a small population out there that let this man go ahead and have a concert. People out of curiosity, especially if people fall in love with the music. Remember, things are being programmed. So her whole everything could be programmed just like us. So that's why I say people will fall in love with AI.
So at the end of the day, though, it's really still humans that are controlling this, or at least the beginning before the AI starts to learn.
Because that's the one thing about this, right? It's supposed to be ever learning, right? Which means she's not going to stay the same, which means what is really being created is she will continue to learn and evolve. So it's not
but heart is something that is uniquely human. And when and you know this as a musician, there is no AI gospel artist that can funnel faith the way you would.
You better say that, sister.
It's the same with any type of music.
Yeah.
So heart cannot be programmed. So this is why I don't think we have anything to worry about. I think we should get in and use it so that we can control the narrative. So kudos to Timberland for that. I don't think it has to be an either or situation either. Yeah. I think it can be, you can do both. Let Tata live. Let Tata have her thing. And the album title, I'm not going to do it.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Cass says, very interesting. Watch the convo with him and others, encouraging him to be the voice that will implement standards and regulations so creatives do not lose their voice and spaces due to AI and music. Absolutely. Uncharted territory, says DeSava. Mark Ward says it opens the door to the 21st century portrait. You're right. But he's right. He's right. Because if you think about these things, all of these kind of like made up bands, as well, people that if we go way back, the Monkees, they did auditions to form these groups. These are not groups that organically came up, right? So this is kind of that same thing, if that's what you mean, Mark, but I see it that way. And then Cass says, understand both of our views, but what happens when it malfunctions live, like the clip with Beyonce and the AI robot pouring the drink in the chair and not the glass? There's nothing like the real... Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Isn't that a song?
Yeah, it is. It is. Now it's going to be in my head. Yeah.
See, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So there are some things that AI, that robotics, that technology cannot touch. You cannot program heart. I'll just say that. But this is interesting, and it's going to continue on. My dear, we have come to the end of our show and we've gone over, but that's okay because I wanted to cover this last story. Any last thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with us?
I just want to tell everybody, whatever it is you're doing, make sure you own your own stuff. Be okay to begin to be seen, be heard, so that people will know you, so that you can continue to expand, so you can continue to scale whatever it is that you do, because your voice matters. This conversation that we're having here, amazing conversation. Thank you again, Dr. Tati, for allowing me to be a part of today's show. It's where we get an opportunity, because if people don't know you, then they will lean into the tatas. So that's why we have to make it harder for them to want to lean into something that's not real, when we can show them who we are, not just whose we are. So just remember that. Own your stuff.
100% own your stuff. And there's so many things I'm going to have to cut out of this episode before it goes, due to no fault of my own. But I want to put up, if you could tell us where people can reach you, because you do want to keep in contact with her. Where can they reach you?
Thank you once again, Dr. Tati, for allowing me, Shawana Kennedy, to be a part of today's episode. I am Shawana K, and that's media. Oh yeah, look, if that's an A in there, it's like Shaw and Anna. I am Shawana K on social media. And then if you want to know more about what it is that I get to do, the people that I get to serve, just like you, it is KennedyMediaLLC.com. So it's I am Shawana K on social media, and just even up under my name, but KennedyMediaLLC.com, so you can learn and see all of the things that we get to do over there with Kennedy Media to help you be seen, heard, and to actually be paid for your brilliance, for your expertise. Yeah.
And you are brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise and hanging out with me today, because this was a real hang. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so very much.
This was good conversation. Thank you, viewers. Thank y'all for tuning
in. Absolutely.
Stepping in. Yeah.
So, Mark Ward, you're intent on getting me in trouble. DiCarpio says, awesome show and conversation with the young Shawana. Yes.
Thank you. You look, they show me love over on the LinkedIn world. So thank you. I want you to know, see, I recognize you though. Thank you for showing me love over there. I see you all the time showing me love. So thank you.
Yes, no, I love DiCarpio. She is an amazing person. And I actually we found each other because I was a guest on somebody's live stream, and that's how, and she was following that person, and now so she's been following me ever since. So I appreciate you. Mark Ward says, due to my statement above, I will not be getting any votes in the next election. Listen, don't run. Don't run, sir. Do not run. And Cass Lou very much enjoyed this, and I enjoyed you being here. Let's see if we have any final thoughts over here. Avenue 8 Events joined us. Hello. The Soldier in the House said lots of stars are manufactured, so AI can be marketed too. Very true.
Millie Vanilli. I just had to say that for the record.
Millie Vanilli, you're right. You're right. All these manufactured artists. You're right. New Share says great show. Fantastic. Thank you for being here. And thank you all for being here. It's because of you that I come on and do this on a weekly basis, and we get to have great guests like Shawana Kennedy. And with that, we are going to go ahead and let you get some dinner. It's 6 o'clock now, so we've been on for like almost an hour and a half. Thank you so much for that. And with that, I'm going to say I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. You guys, myself, and all of this information and our nuggets, we're exiting stage left. So until next week, because I will come on Friday. We'll do a little hang on Friday as well. So until Friday, how about we say cheers? All right. Bye, guys. Okay, can I go? It is not. Okay, I'm going to have to do it manually. Here we go. Bye.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same use, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you on your way. The content it never stays. More positive and uplifting. Once a week the scope gifted. Let's hear it.